received this question. My daughter-in-law has been diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive personality disorder. I wondered if you had any words of advice as to how we may be helpful, encouraging, and loving. She was diagnosed by a Christian counselor and will hopefully continue to be treated by a counselor closer to the state that she and my son live in. They have 2 very young children. I fear for their children and for their marriage. I'm grateful, however, for God's grace in bringing my son to seek help. Please provide any insight into this disorder. I think one of the first things I would say is that when we use the term personality disorder, that is a secular term or a psychiatric term simply to refer to a long-standing pattern of a person's either experience of themselves or the way they relate to others. So that kind of deviates markedly from the norms, basically. That's what the idea of a personality disorder is. And like all psychiatric diagnoses, it's a description of a problem rather than an explanation of that problem or even a particular plan for how to go about helping that person. So I think the first thing I would say is don't be scared off by a big sounding diagnosis. See it for what it is. It's a very good description perhaps of how this person thinks about themselves, how they experience life emotionally, how they relate to other people, but let that be simply a starting point rather than an ending point. Some of the things that are listed as symptoms or as a description of this problem, just to mention a few of them. This person tends to be preoccupied with details, rules, lists, order, organization, schedules, so that the major point of activities are actually lost sometimes. There often is perfectionism that interferes with completion of tasks. So it's not uncommon to have procrastination actually as a problem. They may be over-conscientious, overly scrupulous, very inflexible about matters of ethics or morality or values that may go way beyond what, say, the usual or the norm might be within Christian circles. They may be hesitant to delegate tasks or to work with others because they feel that they must do it, that only they can do it well. It may affect the way they look at finances. It may be very miserly, and they tend to be much more rigid and stubborn in relationships. So that's kind of the description, and you could pick any number of those things to begin to address. But I think what I hear the questioner, I'm glad to hear that this woman will be working with a counselor. I think that's really critical to continue that process. So basically, I think how would I sum this problem up? It's a preoccupation with order, perfectionism, control, that comes at the expense of flexibility, efficiency, and good relationships. So in that sense, there is no one right path into that. I think the starting point of a loving, sovereign God who holds all things in the palm of His hand means that I don't have to be in control. I don't have to be the one to do it all. Now, that's a long-term, this is a long-term, I think, process of walking through that. But that would be just one thing that begins to come to mind. I guess one other comment here is Obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, not the same thing as obsessive-compulsive disorder. That's really a different situation, or a different problem. OCD, obsessive-compulsive disorder, there are focused obsessive thoughts about various things. It might be fear of contamination. It might be, did I check the lock on the door? Associated with compulsive behaviors like hand washing, or perhaps checking to see if I locked the door. That's a very different kind of situation and has a different approach than this personality pattern.